Hey bosses, welcome back to my channel. My name is Daniel Jevaux, and today we are going to analyze 3 new pre-construction projects here in Miami that are driven towards short-term rentals. In this video, we are going to take a look in Oakland Tower in downtown Miami. Then we are going to take a look after in Day Standard in Midtown. And the last one that I want to talk to you about is Nomad in Wynwood. First of all, let's talk about Oakland Tower. Located behind the FTX Arena, the new FTX Arena in downtown Miami, has a very good location because downtown it's rejuvenating, it's getting a lot of new projects, and there's a lot of investment in redeveloping that area that from all the development cycles that we had in the near past, like 2014, 2008, downtown Miami was the area that developed it the least. You don't have a lot of new construction in downtown Miami, with the exception of 1000 Museum, which is an outstanding project, but is of course not built for short-term rentals. Recently, a lot of developers start to build new buildings. We have Nativo, we have Oakland Tower, we have Waldorf Astoria, we have Crosby, and many other projects in that area that is going to help Miami to downtown Miami to be a better location after many years. Particularly, I think downtown Miami is a great area to invest for that specific reason. Brickell is developed, the beaches are developed, and Miami downtown was forgotten for a lot of time. Oakland Tower, it's a very interesting building. Oakland Tower is going to have 3 components. It's going to have the hotel component, the condo hotel component, and the residences. We are not going to talk about the residences today because the focus is short-term rental, but this building has a lot of potential. It's being developed by a Turkish developer. It's their first project here, so they want to make it pristine because it's going to be their business card here in Miami. This project has an very interesting fact that is going to be managed by Hilton Hotels. Hilton is going to manage the hotels and the condo hotels, which has a lot of good sides on that. Number one, you know that's going to be Hilton quality. Number two, the guest is not going to know if they are in one of the condo hotel units or in one of the hotel units because Hilton is going to manage everything and there's no way that they can tell. The only person that can tell is actually the owner. Another good thing about Hilton is that everybody that lives in the residences are also going to be served by the Hilton services. So it's going to be like you're living in a Hilton hotel. In terms of amenities, they are going to have 2 separate amenities, one for the hotel and the condo hotel, and another floor on the rooftop that is going to be exclusive for the residences. So if you are a owner of the residences, you can use both, but if you are an owner of the condo hotels unit, you can only use the condo hotel amenities. Another thing that is very particular about this project is that even because it's going to be managed by Hilton, the condo hotel units, the owner has the ability to use his unit for up to 180 days per year, as long as the owner doesn't surpass 23 consecutive days. So if you are looking for a property that you can come here to Miami to stay 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and then go back to your hometown or another city, Oakland Tower may be a good option because you can use exactly the amount of time that you are looking for. And during the remaining of the time, the developer and Hilton Hotels are going to manage for you for the rental program, for the hotel program. So let's take a look on some of the numbers of Oakland Tower to see if it is worthy for you. Remember, those are projections. Those numbers I put together. The developer has nothing to do with that, and also I am not guaranteeing any results. I just did a market study and now I'm showing to you what the findings that I have. So let's take a look on those numbers. So here on our screen, we have an example of a unit with 665 square feet, with which the price is $795,000, and I'm considering that the buyer is going to finance 65%. So he's going to put a down payment of $278,000. For this property, he's going to have a total closing cost of $31,000. So this is approximately how much this unit is going to cost in the end for this buyer, and he's going to put $310,000 to purchase this unit. But remember, this number 310 he's going to put during the construction, because being a pre-construction, you have several payments that you are going to do throughout this project, which is going to be delivered in 2026. So let's go back to our numbers. I'm simulating an interest rates at the end, because we are talking about 4 years from now, of 6% with 30 years, and a mortgage payment monthly is going to be around $3,100. Plus, you need to pay the insurance, the HOA, which in this case is 87 cents per square feet, and the real estate taxes. All those costs are going to be for the buyer needs to pay those costs regardless if they rent or if they don't rent in a regular property here in Miami. In this case, I need to consider everything, because it doesn't matter only how much you're going to rent your units for, but you need to put into consideration that you need to pay all those costs. So let's take a look of how this was going to behave. Here in Miami, a luxury hotel in downtown has an average daily rate throughout the year of $635 per night. And the occupancy rate here in Miami is about 75%. That's the average. So this brings a monthly revenue for this client of $14,287 projected. Here, to be conservative, I put that the owner is going to set aside 5% every month for maintenance of their property. But remember, Hilton Hotels is managing this, so everything on their management fee is already included to take care of your property. But if something breaks that is not covered by the insurance or is the owner's responsibility, you still need to take care of your property. So that's why I'm putting this maintenance fee aside. Other than that, to manage the property, Hilton Hotels will charge 50%. So you are going to have a net revenue of $6,400. When you take out your monthly payments, which are the mortgage, the interest, and property tax, the electricity, and the internet, you're going to have $900 per month net. So remember, those $900 is what's left to you or for you after you paid your property. So that means that the property is paying for all its costs, is paying for the mortgage, so it's paying itself, and is still bringing you $900 per month to your pocket. So what do we have with that? In this case, the cash on cash return is 3.8% per year. The return on your investment is 1.4%. But when you take in consideration that the property is paying for itself, the activity, the rent is paying for the property, we have a return of 16%, because the property is paying enough money to you so you can pay the mortgage, and a return of your investment of 6% per year. So in terms of return for investment, this property is super good. You still have the condition that you can only use 23 days per year, and per 23 consecutive days, and up to 180 days per year. Now, if you don't want to have those restrictions for your rental, you want to use it as much as you want, and you want to rent the way that you want, another solution could be the standard. The standard is a partnership between the developer, Carlos Rosso, and the standard hotels. And it's not pretty much a short-term rental because you cannot rent on a daily basis. But the condo association was designed to allow the owners to rent this property 12 times a year with a minimum contract of 30 days. The good side of that is your property will have a smaller turnover. There is going to be less tenants coming in and out all the time, and probably you're going to have a longer contract every time you rent it. You don't need to rent for 30 days. You can do for 25 or 20, but during the year, you can only rent 12 times. This property is going to have all the amenities that a new property has. It's a smaller building, doesn't have all the 70 floors from Oaken Tower because it's located in Midtown with the height restriction is much lower, but still you're going to be able to enjoy a very nice neighborhood because Midtown is very good if you like to walk to places, if you like to have a lot of restaurants, a lot of little stores and big malls. We have a very nice complex there where you have Target, Marshalls, Dick's Sports Authority. You have, of course, Starbucks, a newly open Trader Joe's. So it is an area that is very young, very nice, and a lot of people like it because it was elected the most walkable neighborhood in Miami. But looking at an investment standpoint, let's take a look on the numbers. So I did the same simulation here with regards a property in the standard. A property that is 800 square feet is a studio, $491,000, financing 65% with a down payment of $172,000. We are going to have a total cost of around $506,000 with a cash to close about $186,000. Again, you are going to pay, or the buyer is going to pay this throughout the construction. This one is going to be delivered earlier than Oaken Tower because it's a much smaller building, but still you have enough time to do your finances. At the same thing that we did with Oaken Tower, we are simulating this that at the delivery of the keys at the closing date, it's going to be financed at a 6% mortgage rate in a couple of years from now in 30 days. So this is the monthly income, the monthly payment, the insurance, the HOA, and the real estate taxes. All those numbers are expectations, and everybody that wants to buy a unit should do their own due diligence. In Midtown, we have a daily average rate of $318 with an occupancy rate of 70%, which is going to bring the revenue to $6,600. I also put a 5% maintenance reserve, and here, because nobody is managing your property, the only thing that you're going to pay for is a 3% of the platform, such as Airbnb. You also can hire a management company to do that, and everybody's going to charge you a different fee for it, anything between 15 to 25%. So I'm not simulating that here because everybody is going to manage it in a different fashion. So when you take your net revenue and you take down your monthly payment, the electricity and the cable, you end up with a $2,200 per month in net result, which makes the cash on cash result, meaning the 2,000 compared to the amount of money that you put, which is only $186,000, of a 14% return, a return of your investment on your investment at 5%. And when you take into consideration that the cash that this property is paying for your mortgage, and we discount that from your return, you are actually getting a return of 26% per year and a return on the investment of 9.76. So this is another great example of a property that pays for itself. you are using this property as much as you want. You don't have the 180 days per year restriction. You don't have the 23 days consecutive restriction. You can use as you want. However, you do have a restriction to rent this property only 12 times a year on a 30 days basis. So that can limit a little bit your perfect guess. However, also makes your guest to rent your property for a longer period, reducing the amount of people that come in and out, and also saving money for you in maintenance, because you have less people using your property. Of course, things should tear and wear less than if you have a bunch of people. The last option that I'm going to present to you is Nomad, which is a very nice project that is being developed in Wynwood. Wynwood, as most of the people know, is known as the art district, where you have all the galleries, all the street art, and also was recently developed next to the design district here in Miami. So it's a very different area from the other ones. Downtown is more urban, Midtown is more for people that like to walk, and Nomad is more for people that have an artistic side in mind. It's very famous between the tourists. There's a lot of cafes, there's a lot of restaurants, there are a lot of things to do, bars, restaurants, places to go out. But because it's an area that doesn't have a lot of new residential properties, you're going to see that the numbers for the Airbnb operation are not as good as the other ones. However, let's take a look on what is going to happen here, being very conservative. When we look at the numbers for Nomad, I'm going to do a simulation with one of the units of a studio that is 479 square feet, the purchase price 650, 60% finance, and 65% finance, just as the other ones. Closing cost, the total cost of this property for the owner would be $669,000, with a cash to close of $247,000 that the same way is going to be paid during the construction. At the end, we are going to have an interest rates of 6% in 30 years with a monthly payment of $2,500, plus the insurance, the HOA, which is $135 per month per square feet, and the property taxes. Now, as I told you, Wynwood doesn't have a lot of comparables to look for on Airbnb. So what that happened is, because they don't have at this moment in Wynwood very good quality residential properties, the daily rate is low and the occupancy rate is also low. Right now in Wynwood, the average daily rate is $360. The occupancy rate average is 55%, which is going to bring you an estimated monthly revenue of $5,200. I'm taking the same 5% of maintenance reserve, less the Airbnb fee. You're going to end up with a $4,700, almost $4,800 per month in net revenue. When you take out the electricity only, because cable is and internet is included on HOA, you are going to have a net result monthly of $156. That doesn't seem a lot, but remember, I only can make projections with the numbers that I have. And at this moment, Wynwood doesn't have very good properties to be compelling for tourists to rent on a short-term basis. That's why the daily rate is low and the occupancy rate is also low. You can do your numbers trying to simulate that with a higher occupancy rate and also with a higher daily rate, and then you maybe have a different perspective. But now I'm doing the numbers only for what I actually have. When you put those numbers on the paper, we see that the cash-on-cash return is roughly 1% per year net. The return on your investment is 0.13. However, but if you consider that your net revenue is also paying for the property is paying itself, you're not bringing this money to buy the property, basically you are buying 40% of the property with your money and letting the property generate enough cash flow to pay for the other 65%. When you take that into consideration, the cash on cash return before you pay the mortgage is 13%, which is not bad. It's very good actually. And the return on the investment is almost 5% per year. So now there you go. I showed you 3 options of investment in short-term rentals. Number 1, we had Oakland Tower in downtown Miami, where is operated by Hilton. You have the limitation of 180 days per year, 23 days per month. However, has a very good return because being a hotel, you're going to have higher daily rates and also a higher occupancy rate. The second option was the Standard, located in Midtown, is a mix. It's an intermediary between you cannot use certain amount of days, but you also can rent as much as you want. You can use as much as you want. However, your rentals need to be 12 times per year. So you cannot rent more than 12 times per year. You have the pros, you have the cons, you do your numbers and see what's best for you. And the third option is Nomad in Wynwood, where you can manage the way that you want. You can rent 1 day or 1 year the way that you want. If you don't want to rent, you can live there. It's going to have 2 entrances, one for the tenants, the guests, and one for the owners, so you don't have all that checking in and out. And however, because we don't have a lot of numbers to compare to, it's the one that shows the least of the returns. But the property is still paying for itself, even though it's only 55% occupancy rate. So there you go. You have 3 options here in downtown Miami, Midtown, and Wynwood to select which one is the best for you in terms of Airbnb or short-term rentals investment properties. See you there.